Recall earlier, we brought you news that Defense Headquarters said troops during the week killed a total of 152 terrorists and arrested 109 in Katsina and Kaduna State, respectively. Well, to unpack that and also security issues in the northern part of the country, we're joined by Abdullahi Shinkafi, who is former chairman, Zamfara Committee on Prosecution of Bandits and Related Offences, as well as Gad Peter, a security expert. Gentlemen, good evening. Glad to have you both join me on the news.
Thank you for having me. Good evening.
All right, I'll start with Mr. Shinkafi. What are your thoughts on reports by Defense Headquarters regarding some terrorists arrested and others, killed in Katsina as well as Kaduna, respectively?
Mr. President, who is the Commander-in-Chief of Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, gave marching order to the Minister of State for Defense and Chief of Defense Staff to relocate to Sokoto GOC Command, General Officer Command in Sokoto, to flush out these terrorists and criminal armed bandits in their hideouts. So with this result now by the armed forces, both at the airstrike and also the land army, to crush all the armed bandits who have been terrorizing the northwestern region and other parts of northern Nigeria for the past 1 decade. So it's a welcome development, and it's also a big plus to the Nigerian military. But we expect them to do more.
Well, some persons may not particularly agree with you on that, saying that, it's a pass mark for our security operatives. But then let me get a perspective of a security expert, and that's Mr. Peter. Mr. Peter, what do you say regarding these developments? Do you think the security operatives in Nigeria are indeed pulling their weight in curbing crimes and criminality, particularly in the northern area?
Yeah, good evening. And just to be sure, can you hear me loud and clear? Because
I can hear you.
I have a bit of network challenge here. Okay, great. I think the security agencies are trying, but to be honest, more need to be done. When we allow untrained individuals, unknown state actors to run armor in our communities, to take over our communities and become government and institution, then it leaves a lot desired from all of us to do. And having said that, I think the security agencies can do more because as we speak now, there are several communities that are under the control of non-state actors, under controls of criminals, especially in Zamfara and other parts of states around that area, Katsina, Niger State, and all of these other states around the country. And I think that the security agencies must address this issue holistically. We must not look at the issue of activities of bandits or unknown gunmen or kidnappers or at an ad hoc level. We need to increase our intelligence. We need to increase the use of technology. We need to respond in a professional way and in a manner that gives confidence to the community. And so my thought is that we need to do bottom-top approach. What we've seen over the years is a top-bottom approach. What's the involvement of the communities in all of this conversation we're having? And again, between the government and the bandits, who do the community respect and fear or listen more? It's the bandits. Because if government troops say stay at home, and the bandits say don't stay at home, most likely the people are not going to stay at home. So we need to see a more proactive intervention, not a reactionary now. And you cannot have a situation where bandits have taken over a portion of this country, and Mr. President himself have not seen the need to be in Zamfara, to be in Sokoto, to be in Niger, or to be in Katsina. If your citizens are constantly under attack, then where is the presidential might, and where is that empathy, where is that concern, where is that action that we need to see? So I think it's beyond just the security. We need that political will. We need every stakeholder to support this effort and get these bandits out of our community so that people can live a normal life.
Okay, let me get the perspective of Mr. Shinkafi to your thought process along the lines of this rise in insecurity in the northern part of the country, despite the presence or the efforts of security agencies. Mr. Shinkafi, that question is for you. Seems we lost our guest, Mr. Shinkafi there. If you can hear me, Mr.
I'm
Shinkafi.
hearing you
All
now.
right, yes. I was asking you to respond to what Mr. Peter said regarding the rise in insecurity in the northern part of the country, despite presence of security operatives.
Yeah, that should be a proactive measures and also improve in intelligence gathering by using, instead of conventional approach, there is need for more advanced technology in the fight against crime and criminality. Because traditionally, for many decades, the Nigerian military, there is need for total military action. Both the military and air force to flush out these armed bandits in their hideouts. There should also need for community policy. The communities should give a vital information because these criminals, especially in Zamfara State, there's a government within government. They have been operating as even they are more powerful than the governors in this state.
Mr. Shinkafi, just to quickly butt in there, apologies. Let me get the reaction or perspective of our security experts in person of God Peter. What do you say to those who say that the rise in insecurity, mainly in the northern part of the country, is due to lack of education that makes people much more likely to be indoctrinated into crime and criminality?
Well, I think it's beyond just the issue of education. We must look at the pull and push factor that make people want to join a criminal group or make them a member of a gang. And so if you attribute it to education alone, we are not being fair to ourselves and to people. Yes, I agree that in the northern part of Nigeria, there are quite a substantial number of out-of-school kids or people that have not seen the forward of school or don't even appreciate education. But again, there's the issue of poverty. There's a huge gap between governance and government in most of those places. There are several places where there are ungoverned land. There are several places where people are not able to farm. There's the issue of desert encroachment or lack of adequate rainfall. And then the issue of poverty and how the socialization takes place in those communities. So it's a combination of several factors that have led us to where we are. And you agree with me that in the northern part of the country have not exploited all of its potential in terms of solid mineral, in terms of agriculture, and a number of other factors. So we must look at the underlying factor beyond education. We must look at what are those push factors and what are those pull factors that make people into that. And we must look at the issue of religion and culture. How do they interplay each other to get us to where we are? And then how many of those governors are actually providing services in their communities? In most communities, if you go, there is little presence of government in some communities. No proper education, no water, no road, no security, no court system. And so vacuum is not permitted in human existence because wherever there's a vacuum, something or somebody must fill in that vacuum. And what we've seen in the last couple of years is that you have criminal elements providing leadership in those communities. And you must look at the porousness of our borders. A lot of our borders are unmanned. And so there's a lot of cross-border activities in several northern states. Zamfara, Sokoto, Katsina are all border states, Maiduguri to Niger, Chad, and Cameroon. And so we must factor all of this into this conversation to be able to address this clear and present danger to our corporate existence as a people. So education alone is not enough reason for us to attribute this insecurity. You must look at the issue of bad governance. You must look at the issue of poor economic policy. You must look at the issue of social interaction. You must look at structural inequality that people go through in those parts of the country. And of course, the near absence of government in several communities have added to this. Because when you look at some of these local government, the chairmen are hardly in their locality. They are the city center. They only come to pay salary and disappear. So there are no motorable roads, no basic amenities of life.
Mr.
So I
Peter,
think government need to be government in the reset of the world and be able to supply what the people need to have a safer community.
All right, thank you so much, gentlemen, for your thoughts on the news. Abdullahi Shinkafi, former chairman, Zamfara Committee on Prosecution of Bandits and Related Offences, as well as the person who spoke last, and that's Gad Peter, a security expert.